Medical disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. Peptides and research compounds are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always speak with a qualified healthcare provider before starting, stopping, or changing any medication, supplement, or peptide protocol. Never use peptides if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, under 18, or have an uncontrolled medical condition without direct medical supervision. Use sterile technique, source responsibly, and understand the risks. Happy Valentine's Day, friends. Welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about peptides for Valentine's Day. And yes, I mean that exactly how it sounds. Because Valentine's Day is not just about roses, chocolate, and dinner reservations. It's about confidence. It's about energy. It's about mood. It's about connection. It's about feeling good in your body. And if we're being completely honest, it's also about libido. It's about attraction. It's about performance. It's about blood flow. It's about sleep. It's about recovery. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself. So today I'm giving you a full peptide-themed Valentine's Day episode. I'm going to break down the peptides that people use for libido, arousal, circulation, mood, glow-ups, recovery, and sleep. And I'm also going to talk about the truth behind Valentine's Day problems that nobody likes to admit, like stress, fatigue, hormone imbalance, low testosterone, anxiety, depression, insulin resistance, poor circulation, and inflammation. Because if your body feels like it's falling apart, it's hard to feel romantic. So think of this episode as your Valentine's Day peptide cheat sheet. Not medical advice, but a fun, science-based overview of what's out there and why people are using it. Now, before we jump in, let's set the mood. Picture this. It's Valentine's Day. You're dressed up. You smell good. Your hair looks amazing. Your outfit is giving main character energy. You're ready for the night. But then your energy crashes. Your mood is flat. Your stress is high. Your body feels bloated. You don't feel sexy. Your libido is missing. Or your partner is dealing with performance issues. Or you're both just tired. That happens to so many couples. And it's not because they don't love each other. It's because modern life is exhausting. Stress kills libido. Poor sleep kills libido. High inflammation kills libido. Blood sugar issues kill libido. Hormone imbalance kills libido. And sometimes, even when your relationship is solid, your body is not cooperating. So let's talk about what actually drives attraction and intimacy biologically. Your nervous system, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your circulation, your mitochondria, and yes, your confidence. And peptides can influence many of these systems, directly or indirectly. So let's break this down in a way that makes sense. When I talk about Valentine's Day peptides, I like to group them into 5 categories. Category 1. Libido and arousal peptides. Category 2. Blood flow and performance support. Category 3. Mood, confidence, and nervous system peptides. Category 4. Glow-up and body composition peptides. Category 5. Recovery, inflammation, and sleep peptides. Because the best Valentine's Day isn't just about one moment. It's about how you feel all day. It's about your mood. It's about your energy. It's about your self-esteem. All right. Let's start with the most famous category. Libido and arousal peptides. The king or queen of Valentine's Day peptides is PT-141. PT-141 is also known as bremelanotide. And this is probably the most talked about libido peptide in the peptide world. And for good reason. PT-141 works differently than Viagra or Cialis. Viagra and Cialis work mainly through blood flow. PT-141 works through the brain. It acts on melanocortin receptors in the central nervous system, which are linked to sexual desire and arousal. So instead of being purely physical, PT-141 often creates a mental shift. People report feeling more turned on, more interested, more responsive, more sensitive, more confident. Some people describe it as feeling flirtier, like their body is remembering what it's like to crave intimacy. And what makes PT-141 even more interesting is that it can be used by both men and women. For men, PT-141 is often used to support libido and erection quality. For women, PT-141 is one of the few compounds that has actual clinical recognition for increasing sexual desire. There is an FDA-approved pharmaceutical version of it for hypoactive sexual desire disorder. Now, in the peptide community, people typically use PT-141 as an as-needed peptide, not something you take daily. It's often treated like a special occasion peptide, which makes it perfect for Valentine's Day. Now, timing matters. PT-141 is not an instant compound for most people. Some people feel it within 1 hour. Some people feel it within 2 hours. Some people don't feel peak effects until 4, 5, or even 6 hours later. So, if you're planning a Valentine's Day evening, this is something that would need to be planned ahead. Now, let's talk side effects, because this is important. The biggest side effect reported with PT-141 is nausea. Some people get flushing. Some people get headaches. Some people notice an increase in blood pressure temporarily. And because of the melanocortin activity, frequent use may cause darker pigmentation in some individuals. So this is not something to take casually, without understanding the risks. But it is absolutely one of the most popular libido peptides used in research settings. Now, let's talk about another peptide that people love for libido, but it's a little more subtle and hormone-related. Kisspeptin. Kisspeptin is fascinating. Kisspeptin is involved in the signaling pathways that control reproduction and hormone release. It stimulates GnRH, which triggers LH and FSH, which influences testosterone and estrogen production. In plain English, Kisspeptin is like a master switch for your reproductive hormone signaling. In research settings, Kisspeptin has been studied for its effects on sexual behavior, libido, and hormone regulation. Now, Kisspeptin is not as dramatic or predictable as PT-141. PT-141 tends to be felt. Kisspeptin tends to be more subtle. But some people describe Kisspeptin as improving mood, bonding feelings, attraction, and desire. It's often described as a peptide that feels more emotional, more connected, more romantic, which honestly is very on theme for Valentine's Day. Now, let's talk about one peptide that is famous for tanning, but has a spicy side effect. Melanotin 2, also known as MT2. MT2 is primarily used to stimulate melanin production for tanning. But one of its well-known side effects is increased libido. Some people report stronger sexual thoughts, increased arousal, and more spontaneous desire. Now, MT2 also comes with side effects. It can cause nausea. It can cause flushing. It can suppress appetite. And it can darken freckles and moles. So, it's not something to play with lightly. But it is absolutely part of the Valentine's Day peptide conversation because people use it for that glow-up look and the libido boost. Now, another peptide that is worth mentioning, especially in the hormone and libido world, is HCG. HCG is not technically a peptide in the same category as many research peptides, but it is a hormone that mimics LH and can stimulate testosterone production in men and support ovarian function in women. In men, HCG is sometimes used to maintain fertility and testicular function, especially in TRT protocols. And libido is deeply connected to testosterone. So if a man's libido is low because testosterone is low, HCG can be part of the solution in some cases. Now, I want to be clear. HCG is a prescription medication. It's not a casual supplement. But it is relevant when we talk about Valentine's Day because so many libido problems come down to hormones. Now, let's shift into the next category. Blood flow and performance. Because desire is one thing, but performance is another. A major factor in sexual function is circulation. Blood flow affects erection quality in men. Blood flow affects arousal and sensitivity in women. And the main molecule involved in this is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide signals blood vessels to relax and widen. More nitric oxide equals better circulation. Better circulation equals better performance. Now, there are peptides that indirectly support circulation by improving vascular health, inflammation, and tissue repair. One of the most popular is BPC-157. BPC 157 is often discussed as a healing peptide. It has been studied in animal models for tendon healing, gut repair, inflammation reduction, and tissue regeneration pathways. Now, you might wonder why we are talking about BPC 157 in a Valentine's Day episode. Because chronic pain kills intimacy. If your joints hurt, your back hurts, your stomach hurts, your inflammation is high, you are not going to be feeling romantic. You're going to be feeling uncomfortable and stressed. So BPC 157 is one of those peptides that might not directly increase libido, but it can improve quality of life. And quality of life improves romance. TB 500 is another peptide that fits into this category. TB 500 is associated with tissue repair and recovery pathways. People often use it for muscle recovery, mobility, and injury support. And again, this matters because a body that feels good is a body that wants intimacy. Now, let's talk about the most underrated factor in Valentine's Day success. Energy. Because if you're exhausted, nothing else matters. You can have the best relationship in the world and still feel like you don't have the energy for romance. So, let's talk mitochondrial peptides. First up, NAD support. NAD is not technically a peptide, but it is one of the most talked about compounds in longevity and energy circles. NAD is essential for cellular energy production. Your mitochondria use NAD to create ADP, which is the energy currency of the body. People who use NAD injections or NAD boosters often report improved energy, improved mental clarity, improved recovery, and sometimes better mood. If you want a Valentine's Day where you feel alive instead of drained, NAD support is one of the most common tools people explore. Now, a true peptide in the mitochondrial category is MOS-C. MOS-C is a mitochondrial-derived peptide that has been studied for metabolic health, insulin sensitivity, endurance, and energy regulation. People often describe MOS-C as making them feel like their body is running more efficiently. It's not a stimulant. It's not jittery. It's more like steady energy. And steady energy is what you want for a romantic night. Another mitochondrial peptide that gets a lot of attention is SS31. SS31 is studied for mitochondrial protection and oxidative stress reduction. In simple terms, it's discussed as a peptide that supports cellular energy and resilience. And if your body is worn down from stress, chronic fatigue, long COVID issues, or just burnout, mitochondrial peptides become a major topic. Now, let's move into the mood and nervous system category. Because Valentine's Day is not just physical. It's emotional. If you are anxious, overstimulated, or stressed, you will struggle to relax into intimacy. Your body can't switch into pleasure mode if it's stuck in survival mode. So this is where peptides like Semax and Selank come in. Semax is a nootropic peptide that is often discussed for motivation, mental clarity, focus, and mood support. Some people describe Semax as making them feel sharper and more energized mentally. Selank is often discussed as more calming. It's associated with anxiety reduction and nervous system regulation. Now imagine the difference between a Valentine's Day where you feel calm, present, and confident versus one where you feel tense and distracted. That is a massive difference. Some people combine Semax and Selank because Semax can boost motivation and mental energy, while Selank smooths anxiety and creates a relaxed state. And that combination can create a vibe that I call confident calm. Confident calm is sexy. Now let's talk about dopamine. Dopamine is the motivation and desire chemical. Low dopamine can look like low libido, low excitement, and emotional numbness. A lot of people think they have a libido problem when they really have a dopamine problem. They're burned out. They're overstimulated. They're stressed. So one Valentine's Day tip I always give is this. Put your phone down. Because constant scrolling, constant stimulation, and constant distractions destroy dopamine sensitivity over time. If you want to feel desire again, you have to give your brain a break. Now, let's talk about oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is released through hugging, kissing, touch, emotional connection, and orgasm. Oxytocin is what makes intimacy feel safe and meaningful. So even if you never touch a peptide in your life, you can increase oxytocin naturally. Hold hands longer. Hug longer. Make eye contact. Kiss slowly. Be intentional. That alone can change your entire Valentine's Day. Now, let's shift into glow-up peptides. Because Valentine's Day is a confidence holiday. And nothing boosts libido like feeling hot. So, let's talk about growth hormone secretagogues. These include sermorelin, CJC, 1295, ipamorelin, and tesamorelin. These peptides stimulate growth hormone release. Growth hormone influences recovery, fat metabolism, muscle building, sleep quality, skin quality, and overall vitality. Now, you are not going to take CJC and ipamorelin today and wake up tomorrow looking like a bikini model. But people who use these peptides over time often report better muscle tone, less fat, better sleep, and better skin. And those changes improve confidence. Now, sermorelin is one of the most common peptides used for this purpose. It supports natural growth hormone release. People often use it to support fat loss, recovery, deeper sleep, and anti-aging goals. Now, CJC, 1295, and ipamorelin are often paired together. CJC supports growth hormone release through GHRH pathways. Ipamorelin supports growth hormone release through ghrelin pathways. Together, they create a stronger growth hormone pulse. And those growth hormone pulses can support body composition over time. Now, tesamorelin is another peptide in this category. Tesamorelin is especially known for its connection to visceral fat reduction. Visceral fat is the fat around your organs, and it's linked to inflammation, metabolic issues, and hormonal imbalance. So for people looking for a deeper body recomposition, tesamorelin is often part of the conversation. Now, another peptide that is often associated with skin glow and anti-aging is GHK-Cu. GHK-Cu is a copper peptide. It's commonly used topically in skincare, and it's associated with collagen support, skin repair, and hair support. People love it because it can improve skin texture, firmness, and overall glow. And if you're trying to look extra good for Valentine's Day, skincare peptides are definitely part of the aesthetic. Now let's talk about weight loss peptides because a lot of people want to feel leaner and more confident. GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide are peptide-based drugs that support appetite control and blood sugar regulation. They are extremely effective for weight loss in many people. But here's the Valentine's Day reality. If you're on a GLP-1, you might not want the big fancy dinner. You might not want dessert. You might not want alcohol. You might feel full fast. So if you're on a GLP-1 and planning a romantic night, consider doing lighter foods, smaller portions, and focusing more on the experience. Because you can still have a gorgeous Valentine's Day without feeling sick from overeating. Now, let's move into the category that might actually be the most important: recovery, inflammation, and sleep. Because libido is not just about sex hormones. Libido is about energy and recovery. If you feel inflamed, tired, and stressed, your body is not going to prioritize desire. So peptides like BPC 157 and TB 500 fit here again. They are not direct libido peptides, but they can support recovery and reduce discomfort. Now, another peptide that is extremely important in the immune and inflammation world is thymosin alpha-1. Thymosin alpha-1 is studied for immune modulation and immune system regulation. It is often used in protocols for chronic viral issues, immune dysfunction, and inflammation. Now, why does that matter for Valentine's Day? Because if you feel run down, achy, or like you're always fighting something, your libido will drop. Your energy will drop. Your mood will drop. So immune peptides can indirectly support romance by supporting overall wellness. Now let's talk about epithalon. Epithalon is one of the most popular peptides in longevity circles. It's associated with telomere-related research and anti-aging pathways. But one of the most common effects people report is improved sleep quality, deeper sleep, more vivid dreams, better circadian rhythm. And if you want a better libido, better sleep is one of the fastest ways to get there. Because testosterone, estrogen balance, growth hormone pulses, and dopamine regulation all depend on sleep. Now, let's talk about something that is massively overlooked: alcohol. Valentine's Day often involves wine or cocktails. And alcohol can absolutely kill performance. It might lower inhibition at first, but it can reduce sensitivity, reduce erection quality, and disrupt sleep. So if you want to actually have a great night, don't overdo alcohol. A little can be romantic. Too much ruins everything. Now, let's talk about a peptide category that people are quietly using for confidence. AOD 9604. AOD 9604 is a fragment of growth hormone that is researched for fat metabolism. People often use it as a fat loss support peptide, especially if they want something that doesn't increase appetite like some growth hormone secretagogues might. Now, AOD is not a libido peptide, but losing fat, feeling leaner, and feeling more confident can absolutely improve libido. Now, I want to talk about something that I think is the ultimate Valentine's Day truth. Most people do not have a libido problem. They have a stress problem. They have a sleep problem. They have a hormone problem. They have a confidence problem. They have an inflammation problem. And when you fix those things, libido often returns naturally. Now, let's talk about practical Valentine's Day peptide planning in a general educational way. If someone is planning ahead for Valentine's Day, they usually think in 3 timelines. 1. Same-day peptides.
2.
1 to 2 week glow-up peptides.
3.
Long-term body recomposition peptides. Let's start with same-day. Same-day peptides are things like PT-141, because it can be used as needed. But remember, it needs lead time. It is not instant. Another same-day strategy is nervous system support. Selank is a good example because calming anxiety can make intimacy easier. And Semax is a good example if you want confidence and motivation. Now, 1 to 2 week glow-up peptides might include things like GHK-Cu for skin support, or a short run of mitochondrial support peptides for energy. Because when you feel energized and clear-headed, you feel more attractive. Now, long-term glow-up peptides include growth hormone secretagogues like sermorelin, CJC, 1295, ipamorelin, and tesamorelin. Those are the peptides that can change body composition over months. Now, I want to talk about the biggest mistake people make on Valentine's Day. They try to fix everything at the last minute. They want to take something and suddenly become a different person. But the best Valentine's Day is built from consistency. If you want to feel sexy, confident, energetic, and connected, start building your health now, not the day of. Because romance is not a moment. It's a lifestyle. Now, let's talk about men's performance specifically for a minute, because this is a big topic. For men, erectile function depends heavily on circulation and endothelial health. If a man has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, insulin resistance, or poor cardiovascular health, performance issues can appear early. And sometimes erectile dysfunction is one of the first warning signs of cardiovascular disease. So if performance is dropping, it's not just about the bedroom. It's about overall health. Peptides like growth hormone secretagogues may support recovery and body composition. Mitochondrial peptides may support energy. And PT-141 may support libido signaling. But lifestyle changes like reducing inflammation, improving blood sugar, exercising, and improving sleep are foundational. Now, for women, libido is often deeply tied to emotional connection and nervous system state. If a woman is overwhelmed, overstimulated, or emotionally disconnected, her body will not switch into desire easily. That is why Selank, stress reduction, and sleep support can be so powerful. Now, let's talk about something spicy and real. Sometimes couples think they need a peptide, when what they really need is communication. Because resentment kills libido. Feeling unseen kills libido. Feeling unappreciated kills libido. Feeling pressured kills libido. So Valentine's Day is a perfect time to reset intimacy in a way that isn't forced. And here's my favorite advice. Take performance pressure off the table. Make the goal connection, not orgasm. Because when the pressure is gone, desire often returns. Now, let's do a quick fun Valentine's Day peptide fantasy scenario. Imagine you want the ultimate glow-up stack for confidence and romance. You want energy. You want calm. You want libido. You want skin glow. You want good sleep. Now, in a theoretical research conversation, That could look like supporting mitochondria, supporting nervous system balance, supporting body composition, and using a special occasion libido peptide. And again, not medical advice, but conceptually that is how people think about it. They don't just take one thing. They build an entire environment in the body where libido naturally rises. Because libido is not just one switch. It's an entire orchestra. Now, let's talk about another category that people don't associate with Valentine's Day, but should. Gut health peptides. Because if your gut is inflamed, bloated, or uncomfortable, you're not going to feel sexy. And BPC 157 is one of the most common peptides people talk about for gut healing. People report improved digestion, reduced bloating, and reduced inflammation. And if you feel less bloated, you feel more confident. Now, another peptide that sometimes gets discussed for inflammation and immune modulation is KPV. KPV is a fragment of alpha-MSH and is often discussed for inflammation, gut support, and immune regulation. Again, not a libido peptide, but a wellness peptide. Now, let's talk about the mental side of Valentine's Day. The brain is your biggest sex organ. If your mind is not engaged, your body won't be either. So peptides that support mood, focus, and motivation can be huge. Semax is often discussed for that reason. Some people describe Semax as giving them a more optimistic, energized mental state. And when you feel mentally alive, you feel more playful. Now, Selank is often discussed as reducing anxiety and making people feel more emotionally steady. And emotional steadiness makes intimacy easier. Now, let's talk about a peptide that is often used in anti-aging circles that can also indirectly support libido. Epithalon. People love epithalon because of its association with longevity, but they also love it because sleep improves. And sleep is hormone therapy. Sleep is recovery. Sleep is libido support. If you fix your sleep, you fix half your life. Now, let's do some practical Valentine's Day tips that go hand in hand with peptide conversations. Tip 1. Do not experiment with a brand new compound on Valentine's Day. Because if you try something new and it gives you nausea, headache, or anxiety, you just ruined your night. So if someone is going to use something like PT-141, it's smarter to test it on a normal day first. Tip 2. Hydration matters. Dehydration worsens circulation, worsens headaches, and worsens performance. Drink water. Add electrolytes. Tip 3. Eat lighter. Heavy meals divert blood flow to digestion. A massive steak dinner might sound romantic, but it can make you sleepy and sluggish. Tip 4. Sleep the night before matters more than anything. If you slept 4 hours, no peptide is going to magically fix that. Tip 5. Stress reduction is foreplay. Let me say that again. Stress reduction is foreplay. If you want a great night, create a calm environment. Turn off notifications. Clean the house. Light a candle. Play music. Make the space feel safe and relaxing. Now, let's talk about the real Valentine's Day glow-up. The glow-up is not just physical. It's emotional. It's confidence. It's the way you carry yourself. And peptides are tools. They are not magic. But they can support the body systems that make you feel vibrant. Now, I want to end this episode with the most important Valentine's Day message. You do not need to be perfect to be desirable. You do not need a perfect body to be loved. You do not need to look like an Instagram model to have amazing intimacy. The most attractive thing in the world is feeling good in your own skin. And the best Valentine's Day is not about proving something. It's about enjoying each other. So whether you're single, dating, married, in a long-term relationship, or just vibing with yourself this year, remember this. Valentine's Day is about connection. Connection with someone else, or connection with yourself. Now, peptides can be part of the journey, but the foundation will always be the same. Good sleep, good nutrition, movement, low stress, healthy hormones, and confidence. Medical disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. Peptides and research compounds are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always speak with a qualified healthcare provider before starting, stopping, or changing any medication, supplement, or peptide protocol. Never use peptides if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, under 18, or have an uncontrolled medical condition without direct medical supervision. Use sterile technique, source responsibly, and understand the risks. Thanks for listening, keep learning, and stay curious.